The deity's head and hands are missing, severed as if by a sword. You can't tell if this was meant to be symbolic somehow, or a mere act of vandalism. As you take in its chiseled details, you have a vision. The statue comes to life and embraces you awkwardly with its broken arms. Unable to resist, you're flown away into an endless dark.
That shrine seems to have brought me here.
The ethereal figure before you raises the visor of his highly polished helm. Beneath it, his handsome face is weary, yet his eyes burn fierce and bright. He glowers at you with disgust.
You pray not at my shrines. Can't say I'm surprised. You, my most wayward cub.
He spits over his shoulder, folding thick arms across his steel-bound chest.
You don't recall me, do you? I am Rhalic, prime among the seven, and father of all humans. Father of you. I preferred you as a child, pious and devout, remember? I called you to follow me, and so you did.
Rhalic gazes at your upright form, a contemptuous frown creasing his face.
Look at you now. My child, a killer for hire. You can't hide. I see the dead who whisper your name as they pass the threshold of the halls of echoes. And who's to blame? I hold anger towards the divine myself. I could tell you stories about Lucian that would turn your muzzle white, little wolf. Yet you choose to follow him. Lucian didn't make you into a mercenary, but nor did Lucian make you refuse to kill that elf in Fort Joy. Oh yes, I know about that. You're a paradox, Ifan. And who's responsible?
He stares deeply into your eyes. As you gaze into his deep green eyes, you feel your whole consciousness following. You notice every shade of stone within, from iridescent emerald to flecks of grey. The verdant pools encompass you. There is nothing else, nothing but Rhalic's eyes. Suddenly, a vision coalesces. You see yourself, the bright and zealous crusader you once were. You are breathless, scouting through deep forest. You are racing with a message of utmost importance for the elven people. You make it to civilization. Too late. An explosion devastates the beating heart of the elven city. Ancestor trees thud to earth, strong trunks crack even louder than the horrified screams. A fetid miasma pulls the air. Gasping on the fumes, you are dragged to safety by a wolf who appears out of nowhere. He pulls you free, clawing an elven woman who gets in your way. She collapses, wheezing under the choking dust. She clutches your ankle with her hand, grip tight as a vice. As you reach down to help, her hand falls away, lifeless. Through the haze, the death fog, you see her dead eyes, black and staring. Through her lifeless eyes you fall. You see them, Legion. The thousands slain that day, those you were too late to save. The hundreds slain by your own hands since then, mountains of corpses and rivers of blood. You see the motherless children left behind, the scarred slaves sold to the highest bidder. Choices you made, contracts you took. The army of the lost gaze at you silently, their loathing and reproach palpable. Encased in pitch black of deadest night, you know not which way is up and which way down. Vertigo spins your senses as you see the consequences of each choice you made, one damning choice after another. The guilt you tried to escape from lies here, bare, throbbing. It was waiting for you here all along, in this filthy chamber at the base of your rotten heart. Your pain pulses, ebbs and flows, undammed. You widen your eyes, striving to see further, but a stinging slap drags you back to reality. Rhalic stands before you, gimlet eyes hard now. He slaps you again, harder.
Pity won't bring them back. Nothing can bring them back. But you can yet come back yourself. Long ago, you turned your face away from all that is light. Turn back to me, and you could yet save others. Could save all.
Rhalic slaps you again, full force. He stares into your eyes with challenge.
That's what I'm looking for. That Crusader courage. The courage to stand up for what's right.
Rhalic punches you full in the face. You feel a familiar sensation as the delicate bones of your oft-broken nose give way. He catches your arm in one vice-like fist and dangles you above the ground. He laughs and shakes you like a rag doll. You feel rage surge within you, barely containable. Feel it electrifying the blood in your veins, pumping through you. You feel like yourself. Rhalic smirks and releases you.
That's it, Ben Mesd. That fierce spark of zeal is why I chose you, why I saved you from that sinking ship. You tried to hide it behind apathy, but the light shines through. Embrace who you really are. Why did you become a Crusader in the first place? You heard my call, not Lucian's. So fight for me. I need you. The Seven didn't abandon Rivlon. We are trapped here, powerless and squabbling. You, ruthless son of humanity, you will be my champion in the world. You are my God-woken. I will grant you my blessing, fierce wolf. It will aid you on the path out of this place. And then, we will have words again.
Rhalic steps towards you, solemn of face and bearing. He raises his right hand and presses it upon your heart. A surge of warmth and well-being rushes through you.
You may have noticed I've tried to help you on your journey. I blessed the water beneath your feet so that it would aid you. Now, you have the power for yourself. And this is only the beginning. More and greater powers await you, if only you will seek them. Only one like you can wield them. Now go, God-woken. Go with my blessing. Let it remind you always of who you are. My Crusader. In time, I will ask more of you. But now, your goal is simple. Survive. Escape the grasp of those who would imprison you, who would break you, who would limit your true potential. My child, you and you alone must rise above the reach of minor people. But before you lope away, let me ask. You are traveling with company, yes? Be aware, they are not your friends. They are your rivals. They are God-woken too. But you are the one who will be a god, none other. Keep your claws sharpened and your eyes bright and keen. See everything from two sides. Take the wolf that saved you, that follows you so dutifully. Watch him. The wildest animals often turn and bite the hand that feeds them. Oh, and Losa. That pretty little one you think of at night. Kill her now. And be done with it. Until we meet again, my child.
No sooner have you rung the ornate bell than the face of a lizard woman surfaces from behind a rock up on the ledge before you. Her stare is as sharp as the bolt eyeing you from atop her crossbow.
Stand back and keep your hands off your weapons! Convince me you're no Magister, or draw one last deep breath.
You detect a sliver of a smile as she relaxes her martial pose.
You're right. I suppose you don't look like a Magister. Besides, those dogs wouldn't have dared to call me out like that. I apologize for the steel-tipped welcome, but lives are at stake. Hold on, I'll let you up.
With one graceful motion, the lizard throws down a tangled mess of vines for you to climb.
Come, ascend to the sanctuary of Amadia. You'll find you're not the only guest here, but the Great Mother provides for all. Be welcome to this sanctuary. Amadia's eye in the storm.
The Red Prince interrupts as you're about to speak.
This woman is a dreamer. I can see the answers spinning in her eyes. Do rest your legs for a bit while I question her. You're too kind.
Red Prince and the Dreamer exchange courteous pleasantries, as if they're finding themselves in a palace hall instead of a death-ridden swamp. She introduces herself as Bahara. To your surprise, they next lie down on the ground in a seemingly warm embrace and fall asleep. What follows, though, is far from peaceful. They claw and thrash as if struggling for dear life, caught in the hold of some hideous nightmare. Then they wake, haggard, exhausted. They speak of a vision, Brahmos, and another red lizard.
Praise the daylight. I am now. There was death in that dream, chasing me like 100 hungry lions. But at least I've new directions. When we escape and find ourselves on the mainland once more, I must search for Brahmos the Wanderer. Then I will finally know the truth, the very secret of my soul.
You are fortunate to have found this place. The hollow marshes swallow life and regurgitate only the dead.
I'm glad you're safe now.
You're alive! Wasn't sure you would be. Samadel, this is the one I told you about.
The dishevelled lizard eyes you with hope, though her hope is tinged with mistrust.
Han tells me you helped him out of Fort Joy. For that, you have my thanks. Can I ask if... Did you happen to meet a man named Gareth on your way here?
He'll be back, Samadel. I know he will. He has to.
He has to, indeed. We need our leader. And if he doesn't return with help soon, we haven't a hope. You're kind to offer, but you'd best talk to Gareth's squire, Exeter. He'll know where your talents can be most used. Now, Han, let's take a look at your nasty leg injury.
Catch you later, Skipper. It's good you're here.
The young woman chews her lower lip as she observes the injured before her. She bends to grab a rag, wiping her blood-smeared hands. She looks up and sees you.
If you're looking for healing, sorcerer, well, there's not much I can do. Mate,
The young woman chews her lower... She bends to grab...
if you're looking for healing, sorcerer, well, there's not much I can do.
The woman wrings the blood-stained rag in her hands anxiously.
Magisters aren't known for their mercy. Many of us died. And the ones here will likely follow the same fate, by a slower road. The Magisters sank our ship. Then we ran into more of them on the shore. They had these shrieker monstrosities. They're these wretched beings mounted on crucifixes. They nearly wiped us out with a single blow. We fled, those of us who still could. I've done all I can. Their wounds are too great. All I can offer them now is prayer and a cup of water. If you know a way, I'd be beyond grateful. Magic? All I've got is my own 2 hands and...
She trails off and limply gestures to her paltry makeshift infirmary.
I'm not even a healer. Ours was killed in the attack. I'm just a cook. A few hours ago, that might have helped. Look at their pallor. Only magic can pull them back from the brink now. Do what you will. Just don't cause them any more suffering. You brought me back from the brink. Thank you. Focus on your breathing, Jules. Slow and deep.
By Lucian's locks, stop fidgeting, lad.
The woman shifts her gaze from the remaining wounded back to you. She nods.
You're a far better healer than I am. Thank you for your efforts. I'm not going to be of much help. If there's anything more you can do, I'd be in your debt. Lord.
You healed me. How did you... Oh, never mind. I don't care how. I only care that today won't be my last.
I don't remember much. I barely had time to realize the Magisters were attacking before I was injured. The last thing I saw were these things, these shriekers. A lot of what happened was a blur after I was hit. But I do remember the screams from those shrieker monstrosities and my own brethren screaming in pain. Those Magisters are gonna pay in blood for what they did to us.
He nods with a determined grimace.
A lot of what happened was a blur after I was hit. But I do remember the screams from those shrieker monstrosities and my own brethren screaming in pain. Those Magisters are gonna pay in blood for what they did to us.
If my mother were here, she'd box my ears for not being able to thank you properly. Though I reckon that walloping from the Reds was punishment enough. Take this, at least. It'll have to do. Thank you.
Please, heal them all.
In an instant. My wounds have all but vanished. I didn't think. I was certain I wouldn't. Thank you. The Magister flagship. It has ballastay that tore our ship into kindling. A shard from our own mast pierced my side. I'm lucky the others managed to haul me all the way here. Especially after I saw what the Magisters did to those of us they captured.
He shudders at the memory.
They turned the living into shriekers. Crucified wretches that unleash pure destruction on anyone who tries to pass. Nobody survives those things. You wouldn't be in such a hurry if you saw the kind of things the Magisters are doing. The kind of things they used against us.
He shudders at the memory.
I wish I had a fitting way to thank the person who saved my life. As it is, all I can offer is, well, it's not much, but maybe you'll find some use for it. Thank you.
We are fortunate indeed to have you.
I feel better.
They're going to be all right. Thank you. Thank you. Gods above, thank you.
So badly.
I'm alive! I'm alive!
If this is all we have...
A grim-faced man sifts through a pile of badly damaged weapons, salvaging the repairable, ditching the broken. He picks up a rapier, the blade nicked and splintered, the hilt twisted. He holds the damaged blade up to the light.
This was Halorn's blade. It was his first, it was also his last. He didn't intend to die here, but die here he did. He was an ordinary soul with an extraordinary heart, Halorn, and he died for what he believed.
The point breaks away, leaving a jagged edge. The sword is shorter now, but it'll do more damage.
Who are you?
He realizes, to his surprise, that he holds the weapon in his hand, ready for battle. He smiles to himself, tucks the weapon away, and gets back to work. He works fast, checking weapons to see if they're battle-ready.
The blade is thirsty. Now, what can I do you for?
A young man in oversized armor paces around a table covered with a spread of maps, his face a tight scowl of frustration.
Every approach blocked. Oh, damn it. What good are battle tactics against those things anyway?
He glances up. In quick succession, he becomes aware of both your presence and the fact that you're not a familiar face.
Who the blazes are you?
The birds are asleep.
A sorcerer, indeed. I should have realized. A seeker can always recognize a sorcerer when they see one. You meant Verdus. Oh, then he's as good as dead. We're the seekers he spoke of. We were supposed to free him. Instead, we've failed him. You, a godwoken? Surely not. Though if Verdus said so, you could be important. But there's no way to be certain until we've left this blasted island behind us. Verdus was godwoken. He was a powerful sorcerer, in the vein of Lucian the Divine. He had the potential to succeed Lucian if he mastered his powers. But now that won't happen. If you're the same as Verdus, then we have to get you away from this place. Someone's been killing the few godwoken that are out here. Likely that dog Alexander. He's a godwoken too. A failed one as far as I'm concerned. I can imagine he won't want any upstart godwoken taking what he figures to be his birthright.
The young man anxiously fidgets with his curved bow. You've found a matter close to his heart, evidently.
That's easier said than done, I'm afraid. Much easier said. The Magisters have us cornered. They have these weapons called Shriekers. If we try to go against them unprepared, we're dead. We've lost many already. They were sorcerers once, but after whatever perversions the Magisters subjected them to, they're death incarnate. If they can see you, they can kill you, instantly. After we retreated here, our leader, Sir Gareth, set out looking for some ancient weapons that could counter those things. Then we could break the Magister blockade and escape this island. But he hasn't returned. If Sir Gareth doesn't come back with those weapons in tow, well, this island will be our grave. You'll help us?
His shoulders visibly relax, the weighty armor upon them settling with a clink.
Thank you. Allies are in short supply in this place. If you help us, I promise, we'll get you as far away from this place as possible. Please, ask. Whatever helps. We keep the ideals of Lucian the Divine alive. The world needs Source, and those who are most adept at using it. We aim to protect those special few. We came to free an elf called Verdus from Fort Joy. He was a godwoken. He could have been the next Divine, but we failed him. Well, before there's a Divine, there must be a godwoken. Only a special few among sorcerers have this potential. Without them, a true successor to Lucian will never rise. Sir Gareth? He's the finest seeker I know. I'm honored to serve as his squire. He wouldn't let us down. Not unless something's gone horribly wrong.
So close your sweet eyes and rest your wee head.
A dwarf stands by a young woman. He seems intensely focused on her, whispering and singing softly in her ear. She's staring blankly into space.
Blood and bone. Fire and smoke. Death and worse.
Hush now, Leia. They'll not hurt you again. You're safe now. Once Gareth gets back, we're going home. You'll see. He'll be fine.
The woman rubs her neck, raking her nails across her skin as she whimpers. The dwarf starts at the sound of your voice, gripping the woman's arm for a moment before he relaxes.
New faces. Hope you weren't bushwhacked by the Magisters too. As for her neck, she's remembering the damnable source collar she once wore. Lucky for us, she had the skills to remove them. There's many a sorcerer that's been freed thanks to her. Aye, that were my call. She's not suited to this.
Howling dogs and men. Friends silently screaming through stitched mouths.
He puts his arm around her as she starts to sob.
She's delicate at the best of times. I asked Simone for something to help her relax, but Gareth's the only one who truly keeps her calm. If we didn't need her to remove Urda's collar, she'd be safe somewhere far from here. And now the rescue's scuppered. It were all for nothing. We were part of the caravan headed to Fort Joy, shiny collars and all. Gareth and the Seekers ambushed the caravan and freed us, saved every one of us from that hell. But now he's off searching for weapons to take down them shriekers, and all we can do is sit here, thinking about the Godwoken we didn't save.
From fragments to whole. From their past to our future. From their hope to ours.
She ain't detailed, but she ain't wrong. The Godwoken are our hope that a new divine can be born. Someone to replace Lucian and push back them Voidwoken. Someone to restore order and protect the source. I'd speak to Exeter if you want to know more. There's ways, but I ain't privy to them. One thing I do know, mind. The Voidwoken have their number. They react to Godwoken like no one else.
Barking dogs in wolves' clothing. Teeth in the sea. Teeth in the swamp. Teeth in the air.
Aye, there's enough of them about. But don't you worry none. Gareth will be back soon. Then we'll be home in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. We were part of the caravan headed to Fort Joy, but now he's off.
The dwarf starts to sing softly as the woman rocks slowly in her seat.
Fortify this place. Make a stand. No, no. We don't have the time.
Before you stands a figure, her body wreathed in cloth. All you can see of her eyes are 2 dark holes in an ornate mask.
Amadia's blessings, child. I have not seen this face in our sanctuary before. Pray, who are you? Blessings upon this day. I have lived a long life, but this is the first time I've met a soul that is no one. Speak as you will. I'll hold no blade to your neck. Simply know that you are welcome to stay as long as you wish. I am Gratiana, priestess of Amadia. It is a privilege to welcome you to her sanctuary from Brachus's vile swamps.
She stops dead as you pull the jar out of your backpack. Her voice trembles as she speaks.
You entered the vault. Please, give that to me. Give it to me now. It matters not. All that matters is that you give it to me.
She reaches greedily for the jar, tearing the cap off. You see a green glowing light emerge from the jar, enveloping Gratiana.
By Amadia, I feel wet. Oh, goddess, I can feel your tears upon my face. I suppose you deserve to know. Before I knew Amadia's grace, I was a very different person. I was the concubine of Brachus Rex. But more than his lover, I was his partner. I discovered his power to feed on the source of others, and I allowed it to... No, I made it happen. You don't understand. No one understands. My heart held such fear, but with Brachus I was safe. He needed me, and I needed him. As his strength grew, so too did mine. There is nothing you cannot do when you sit on the lap of a powerful king. And I did it all. But power changes a man, as he changes his nation. Brachus grew paranoid, angry, murderous. I tried not to see it. I told myself it was fine, that the stronger he became, the stronger I was. What stupid lies. I gave him more and more, trying to win him back to me. I offered him the source of whole villages. He devoured them and demanded more. The lands outside were once green and beautiful, until I came, until I turned them over to him. Now all's poison, and the dead are restless. Amadia is merciful in her love. I found this shrine while hunting a band of wizards. I found the goddess weeping for her children, and I wept too.
She pauses for a moment. If she had eyes, you're sure she'd be wiping them.
Through Amadia, I saw my sins, and I could bear it no longer. I threw myself from the cliff at the entrance. I tried to rid the world of my evil, but Brachus would not allow it. He brought me back from the Hall of Echoes, locked my soul away, and demanded my obedience. Even in death, he commanded me. Only when 2 source hunters ended his curse was I free. Since then, I have returned here and spent centuries trying to heal the pain I've caused. And now...
She drops the now empty soul jar to the ground, smashing it to pieces with her foot.
You have my thanks, brother.
She starts to speak, but chokes back a sob instead.
Thank you. I can't... I've never known such kindness. Thank you for everything. May you walk forever in Amadia's grace.
Rest your wee head. Wisht, bonny bairn, now don't you cry. The birds are asleep, the moon's
Mother
in the sky.
of magic, hear my
The seven
prayer.
watch o'er us, you're safe in
Protect
bed.
these poor souls in their time of need.
So close your sweet eyes and rest
I pray
your
that
wee
you
head.
ease their pain and see them safe in
Screams, echoes of death.
Amidst the placid little pond, the face of a goddess lies half submerged in the water. Rivulets stream from her deep-set eyes like endless cascades of sunlit tears. You feel peaceful in her presence, soothed somehow by an intangible comfort. As you gaze upon her loving face, you find yourself drawn into a trance-like state. A voice seems to reach you from within your mind and from the furthest reaches of the stars. Its whispers caress you like a breeze. The voice grows stronger, like a breeze picking up. What were whispers become words.
My children, my children. Gone are my children. Dead are they in the cradle I have wrought.
Her hold tightens and slips in waves, wavering between indignation and curiosity.
My child, weep with me for the mother who has lost. Weep with me and bathe in the tears of Amadia.
Your tears mingle with those of the goddess down in the tranquil crystalline pond. As suddenly as it came, the voice is gone, and you wake from its presence as if from dream-filled slumber. The pond now shines with an inner light, and standing in its waters, you feel rejuvenated, pure, as if born anew.
and see them safe in your grace.
The seven watch o'er us, you're safe in bed.